So I did more research. I watched a lot of stuff. And y'all owe me. Y'all seriously owe me. Because I had this AI. Niggas need to step their AI up. I don't know if it's AI that need to step up or it's you dudes who using AI that need to step your AI skills up. But somebody need to step it up, B. Cause I'm so like, I had to sit through. Hold on a second. If I gotta sit through another one of these,
Choose the dynamics here. So where does this leave us? Pooh Shiesty is facing life in prison, potentially for the second time before his 30th birthday. Big 30 is caught up in a federal kidnapping case. Pooh Shiesty's father is federally charged. Gucci Mane is a victim in a high-profile federal case with no resolution in sight. Yo Gotti, whose name isn't in the complaint, whose label has said nothing, who reportedly stood to gain everything from this, is sitting somewhere in Memphis watching this unfold. And the feds,
Pushiesti, Pushisti, Gucci Mane, bruh, y'all gotta do better, B. Y'all gotta do better. Y'all gotta do better, B. Y'all have to. Goodness gracious. They did, they did that whole video. No, what make it crazy, because one time throughout the video, they pronounced Gucci Mane correctly. Then another time in the video, they pronounced Pooh Shiesty correctly. It sounded like a struggle, though. You understand what I'm saying? But it's like a struggle to say Pooh Shiesty, but he said it. But throughout the whole rest of the video was Gucci Mane, Pooh Shiesty, Pooh Shiesty, Pooh Shiesty. Bruh, I don't like it. I don't like it. Not one bit. So the problem is with all of that goofball Pushaishti and all, it had some real accurate. It had some real good information. I don't know if I could say accurate because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of allegeds, but there are some perceived facts and all of that that are out there, and the info was quite thorough. So I had to sit through a couple of those. You know what I mean? Just to get the info for y'all. You know, from my perspective. You know, to get the info so I could give y'all, my real one perspective on what's rocking. You know what I mean? And this is a doozy. Let's just say that. This one is definitely a doozy. And I want to say salute to the citizens in the comment section, because y'all did y'all thug thizzle. Y'all did y'all big one on the last video I made about this, because y'all gave me some real valid information on the topic, and even actually showed me, recommended where I could go to find some of this info. And I went there and I found a lot of this info. And I appreciate y'all for that. I can't think of your names, but I'm looking for it right now so that I can read the Yump Off, right? How it go? All right, let me see. Cool situation. All right. Brownsville 718. Salute to Brownsville in the building. Never ran, never will. What's her rap? Take a look at the Rap Dynasty YouTube channel. I just watched it, and dude went into a whole situation and how stuff went down. Allegedly, Gucci security was supposedly had snitched. On another note, Ferrari F50, blah blah blah. He's talking about other stuff. Salute to you. So yeah, I went to that. I went to Rap Dynasty, and they did have a very thorough, synopsis on the situation. Somebody else mentioned the fact about what was it? Shiesty's cousin Scar, who was signed to Gucci, passed away, and Gucci ain't do nothing for the funeral other than a few things, and he wanted said he ain't do nothing for the funeral and a few other things with him wanting the chain back. Like, he had a label chain, a 1017 chain. Oh, in the video they talk about 1017 record. Bruh, watch out. Anyway, so they talking about that, you know, Pooh Shiesty's his cousin Scar, and I found out through my watching these videos that Pooh brung his cousin to the label. You know what I'm saying? Played his music for Gucci. Gucci heard his music, signed him, whatever. And he was in the process of changing his life. His cousin Scar been through it, had a rough life, as seemingly all the Gucci's artists. Gucci he has an affinity towards the hood, the with the shits.comery. You know what I'm saying? All of the art of troubled youths. You understand what I'm saying? At risk youths in the hood. Just coming out of jail, this, that, and the third. But his cousin had been through some. He had a couple of brushes with life and death or whatever. I don't remember the details at the moment. Like I said, I took in a lot of information and ain't write nothing down. I'm kind of shooting from the hip. But it's like he died from something else, I believe. Like, he fell ill and he passed away. And, and Gucci was what they said he did. Yeah, they said he didn't pay nothing with the funeral. The video that I said, they said that a receipt or some of sorts was produced saying that he paid 20,000. He put up 20,000 for the situation, but everything costed more. I think they said, or somebody said everything came up to 60. You know what I mean? And hey, I don't know how much whatever. Y'all can feel the way y'all want to feel. He gave something. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and but asking for the 1017 chain back was it rubbed everybody the wrong way. It's like he wasn't acting like a dude in mourning. Like people ain't like it. You know what I'm saying? People was not feeling him for that. And when Pooh Shiesty came home, he felt the way about that, is what they're saying. You know what I mean? And here's my own 2 cents. Well, this was my own 2 cents because my brain is kind of still computing some of all of this information. But some of my own 2 cents was this: if you, I know we be young and hungry, young, dumb, and hungry when we be signing these contracts and all of that. But when a person get locked up, they do a lot of reading. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people do a lot of reading. You know what I'm saying? You learn a lot while you locked up if you do your time well or whatever, right? And if you ever get to a point where your mind, your intelligence elevates, and then you read a record contract, you might feel away. You may feel bamboozled. And the fact that, I know everybody's saying, and I agree, you can't handle your problems like the streets when you're doing real legitimate business, right? Nobody's like, you can't run up on these white people and pull out these guns and do this, that, and the third. It's gonna go bad for you. But when it's niggas from the street that you doing the business with, you feel, especially, I mean, I said he might have, you feel like this street nigga know what it is. Oh, he know what it is. You're not going to paper thug me. You understand what I'm saying? But as I said, my investigation led me down wild turns, and unfortunately, they are talking about Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti being from Memphis, where Pooh Shiesty is actually from. Him being, they saying his love. They saying he offered Pooh Shiesty a deal, knowing that Pooh Shiesty got a deal with this, with Gucci Man. That's aggressive. So that's yeah, that's aggressive and all of that. Um, they also suggesting worse. You know what I'm saying? They also suggesting worse. They suggesting that Yo Gotti insinuated, somehow sparked, or possibly could have been involved in the actual dirty deeds that went down. It's wild business. That's wild business. You know what I mean? But there are no. Let me just jump out the window all the way out there and say that there, like, Gucci Mane's name ain't in none of the reports, is what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not under investigation, not officially. You know what I mean? But they said the streets out there are talking like crazy, and that's what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? And what's the dude named Big 30? Big 30 is one of Yo Gotti artists. He's not even signed, like, Big 30 is Yo Gotti's artist. And he stood there and held the door. He played security at the door. You know what I'm saying? It's because of his actions, from my understanding, that they can that they classify this as a kidnapping. He was the nigga barricading the door so you can't get out and all of that. And oh man. And they said, oh goodness. Yikes. They said that Yo Gotti's lawyer showed up to represent Big 30. Not just, and they put a lot of emphasis on the fact that it's not some legal aid that it's not some lawyer that he went and found on his own. No, the same lawyer that Yo Gotti trusts to handle his real serious affairs and all of that is, you know what I'm saying, the nigga who showed up for Big 30. Now, granted, that's his artist. Okay. People put a lot of emphasis on that, right? But if I know at any time during the 90s or whatever, if I got locked up, if I got in any trouble, yes, Drew High got a phone call. He didn't have nothing to do with what I was doing. He might not have got the call from the precinct. You understand what I'm saying? But I mean, the time when Helter Skelter got Evil D locked up, or maybe the time when well, maybe not when Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter didn't actually get Evil D locked up. It was me who got Sean Price and Evil D locked up, crashing out. But anyway, there's a story about it. It's on the platform. So in the it went down. It went down like this folder. But anyway, Drew was one of the phone calls that, because he was part of the business we was doing in that situation. So I mean, that speaks, that kind of speaks against Yo Gotti. But other times when I got in trouble, I got locked up in a cab with a slam dancer one time. You know what I mean? And no, Drew wasn't the first person that I called, but he got called. You understand what I'm saying? I got locked up for the Rock Filthy but Not Guilty. Y'all, if y'all familiar, I don't need to go into all of that, but it was real serious things that went down. I got arrested for serious ass charges in 2008, right? Drew showed up. You understand? He showed up. He put up part of my bail and ducked down, provided half of my bail. They had nothing to do with my crimes, nothing. Or I mean, forgive me, my charges. Or other, when I got locked up with the hammer, that was my. They had, they gonna get the phone call because they are the officialitized entity in my life. You know what I'm saying? In my circumference at the time. That's the business. That's the company. I technically work for them. They got lawyers. They whatever. They got the things that I don't have. So I don't feel like that's a direct indication. See, I just worked that in. I just worked that out. Worked through that in my mind right here in front of y'all. Because the way they was putting it when I'm watching it, they was like. And Yo Gotti's lawyer shows up for Big 30, two of the only niggas whose name they could say correctly in this whole situation, Yo Gotti and Big 30. I'm like, damn, that look bad. I ain't even think about how the same time, Drew Hodden got all them phone calls behind all of us. You know what I'm saying? Not just me, all of us. You know what I'm saying? What up, y'all? How y'all doing? I'm sorry. I got a lot to get to, but salute to all of y'all in here showing love. You know what I'm saying? What up? Too much money. Let me get some. Uh, But yeah, it's a lot. Hartford in the building. Salute to y'all. Somebody said, wasn't it about 20 million? What you mean, wasn't it about 20 million? Mm, I don't know. But, I'm not here to try to throw Gucci under the bus. You know what I'm saying? I ain't here to try to throw Yo Gotti under the bus. I mean, I ain't here to try to throw nobody under the bus. But the people are, the great debate about whether or not Gucci ratted is raging on right now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are like, nah, I'm not trying to hear none of that. And I understand what they try. I feel what they saying, but my question is this: and the video that I just now that was mispronouncing everybody that I just they made a very strong stance in that video about how snitching is when you cooperate with the law to to reduce your own your own punishment and all of that. I'm not trying to hear that, B. Even if that first of all says who, right? And if the first and the most official gangsters in the world are the ones who made that law and it's written down in some book somewhere, so what? Because there are other kind of snitches. It's other kind of snitches. If you a nigga who will go at me with a gun and then I go at you with a gun and you tell the police on me, what is that? What's that? If it ain't a snitch, it ain't cool. That might not fall under the officialitized parameters of snitching, but that shit is not cool. So what you calling it? If you somebody who gets snatched up or police run down on you and you sit in the precinct and tell on some niggas who ain't have nothing, you get locked up on a charge. You go tell on to reduce your time, you go tell on some other niggas. I know they selling guns and drugs over there on the other side of East New York or Brownsville or whatever. I got names and all, right? But y'all ain't do no dirt together. So it's not like y'all did some dirt together and y'all all of these stipulations to what's actually bruh, semantics. Ain't none of that shit cool. If you a civilian, got you. That's different. But there's one caveat I do ask. If you got a house, you got a car, you got some sort of legitimate business, like if you got a house or a car, right, and your house get burglarized or your car gets stolen, you gotta call somebody. Like you got insurance. If you got insurance, what you gonna do? How you supposed to get reimbursed without calling somebody? Now, I don't know if I don't know if we can view his legitimate business losses. You know what I'm saying? He's running a legitimate business with his record label. I'm speaking of Gucci. I don't know if we can consider that in the same category with your insured car or your insured crib. But nigga, you calling the cops. You making some phone calls to some authorities when those things happen. How else is you gonna get your money? You gonna go get it in blood? You're not being a businessman no more. You're not being a like you setting yourself up. The car that was burglarized or stolen or whatever, it was your car, it was in your name. You know what I'm saying? Your house is in your you go Johnny Rambo, you lining yourself up. I don't know. So those are the caveats. You know what I'm saying? Again, they said that Pooh Shiesty security, not Pooh Shiesty, Gucci Mane security was an off duty police, like for real, not a retired police, none of that shit. Like this nigga still has, he still has things to answer to within, you know what I'm saying? It's parameters he gotta abide by and all that. So I said, my sister's car was broken into. She's a businesswoman. She didn't go to the cops or anything, but has all the right to, due to a person committing criminal intent towards her property. Yeah, my truck got broken into one times, and I could have went to. I thank my daughter and her mother. So when me and my daughter's mother was still together, and we was in Brownsville, and I heard my alarm go off. I looked out the window. I ain't see nothing. I laid back down. We was sleep. This is damn near 11, not sleep, but this niggas is laid down, you know what I mean, in bed. I heard it go off again. I jump up, look out the window, somebody in my truck. I jump up, jump in some pants, right? You know the pants with the rips, you know, they got the little fashionable rips and shit. I put my foot through the hole, ripped the big ass hole in my pants, pause, put on a coat. I ain't got on no shirt. I look like a complete savage, right? I fucking got I ain't got no shirt on, half a pair of pants on, and I go and I'm on my way downstairs and I say to myself, I'm like, what if I catch him? So I stopped to go get it. I went to go get it. And then I looked at my daughter and her mom's laying there. And I said, what if I catch him though? And I left it. And I went downstairs, right? Ran downstairs, out the back of my building, around in my truck. I see, like, if there was a radio in my truck, he stole the radio, right? But the radio didn't work. It was a new radio in the back seat that he completely neglected. Like the radio was broke. I just, me, my non-tech, my non handy ass. I ain't put it in yet. I was gonna have my peoples install it for me, right? So I didn't really take no loss. I wasn't tripping, right? But I was tripping because I felt violated because this shit ain't allowed to happen to Big Rock in that area. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm looking for something to punch on. Like I'm wild frustrated. I'm just walking down the street, looking for somebody to look at me crazy. Anything that looks suspicious or anything that pissed me off bad enough, I'm about to crash out, right? And then I see a dude. I see this car pull. No. Before I see the car, I'm walking down the block in crash out mode, and I walk. I see this big ass speaker in between two parked cars. Now I'm looking at this speaker. What the fuck is this? Who's is this my speaker? Cause again, unhandy me. I never saw this speaker outside my truck. So I'm looking at the speaker. I'm like, is this my speaker? And as I notice the speaker, I look up. This car is driving slow, pulling up to me, driving past me. I look in the car, and it's this dirty face looking Latin dude. Like he's like he looked. I'm not saying Latins have dirty face. He looked Latin, and it looked like his face was dirty, right? And he's driving past. And as I look at him, looking to see if he look crazy, because I'm gonna probably try to snatch him out his car or something. But he don't say nothing, right? So I don't say nothing to him. But I look inside his cars, and his speakers installed all just everywhere in his car. Like he got speakers in the ceiling. I'm like, that's the nigga. And I start to chase this nigga, right? And he takes off, right? I chased this car just until I realized how stupid I look and feel running behind a car, right? And then I stopped. Imagine if I would have had it. We was on a one-way street. Imagine if I would have had it. Where he was going, he wasn't going nowhere but to bed. You understand what I'm saying? And where was I going? Jail. Because that shit was right in. Yeah, it was nighttime, but please believe somebody would have told. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, I went too far into that story, but that's just the story you told. And I didn't go to the police. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't call no cops or nothing. You understand? I didn't do that. That just, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, if your car gets stolen, nigga, you calling some authorities. How about that? Anyway, if you made it to the end of this video, like, comment, subscribe. Oh yeah, welcome to the nation, Monster Nation. That is. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the door, not the door, the bell. You know what I'm saying? The for notifications and the hype button. Do all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's the Monster Man Rocco. I'm your host, tour guide, landlord, owner, tenant, janitor. I'm out the dance floor with you. It's BCC, not BBC. Pause. Pause protesters. Get your ass out of here.